Okay,
Yes,
I see live.
it's live
Okay.
now.
Yeah. Good evening and welcome to another Tuesday evening spiritual mind healing service from the Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living in Kingston, Jamaica. Let me first tell you that my computer is misbehaving, and so I am using my phone, which does not have camera access for Zoom. So you'll just have to see me via my photograph. It's still me, and you can hear me perfectly. Okay? So let us begin as we begin all things with an opening affirmative prayer. Right here and right now, we are acknowledging that there is one power, one presence. This is God. And this presence is a perfecting presence that brings everything into perfect alignment for its perfect expression. So every idea, every thought, every activity this evening as part of this healing service is now in flow. There are no obstructions. There are no disturbances. There is only the right and perfect activity flowing through this evening service. For this, I truly give thanks and allow it to be so now. Healing service is now in flow. There are no disturbances. There is only the right and perfect activity flowing through this evening. I'll go into a few moments of silence now, just to allow people to come on board and to settle. So if we just take a few breaths in and relax into this moment, releasing any idea of stress or strain, and being present to now. Right here and right now, all the universe is with us. Every aspect of livity is moving and flowing through us in this moment. We breathe in the beauty of this moment. We breathe in the joy of this moment. And we know that right where we are, all of God is fully present and fully active, because we know that there is no place that God is not. All is well. I give thanks for this knowing as I release these words now into that infinite law, knowing that all is perfectly well right here and right now. We breathe this in deeply and consciously. And as we breathe out, we bring ourselves back to this present moment, fully open, fully receptive, fully present. Breathe in and breathe out. And now we're here. For those of you who are just joining, I apologize for not being me that you're seeing um, physically, but you're seeing my photograph because I have to be doing this from my phone, and my phone does not have access to the camera for Zoom. But it's still me. So welcome to all for joining us for the Spiritual Mind Healing Service. My name is Carol Campbell, and I'm a practitioner with the Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living. As our notice said this afternoon, my topic is, who is God? We all know the typical answer, the expected answer, I am God. Because we have been told this via the Bible, that I am is the name of God as was revealed to Moses. And there's a song that we sing here at the temple quite often, which says, God is a life that lives through me. God is a light that shines eternally through me. God is a truth that speaks forever free through me. God is the joy of love that sings through me. I am the life of God in me, filling the world I love. I look at each of these individually in a minute, but these all represent the what of God, not the who. There's a Pentecostal hymn that declares, God is the great I am. And when being sung and making that declaration, there is apparently no connection to the statement. It still carries the understanding of God separate and apart, whose name is I am. But think for a minute. When we say I am, who is the I that is recognizing I am? Is it a me? If me is removed from the equation, would I still exist? Something to think about. So if God is the life that lives through me, that would suggest there is no life to live without God in me as me. Jesus told us, I and the Father are one. Therefore, we can surmise all that God is or has, we already have and are, in direct proportion to our capacity to embody that oneness. To use the analogy of the ocean, a wave carries with it all the attributes and qualities of the ocean, and no one could argue that it is inseparable from the ocean. But it's clear the wave is not the entire ocean. We are not God, but we are a center through which God operates, a vehicle, if you will, for disseminating the qualities of God. We are the place through which God flows. The song continues. God is a light that shines through me eternally. Light equates with wisdom, which is an inner knowing, not simply a belief, but knowing without a shadow of doubt. When we acknowledge God as the inner light, we don't need experience to teach us wisdom. The learning is more of a reflection of that which is already known. God is the light eternally. God is the truth that speaks through me forever free. We're told, know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Now, what is the truth? The truth is God expresses through me. Okay, so how? When first we acknowledge or recognize it as that which we are, truth and wisdom are inextricably linked. Because as the Yoruba proverb says, the beginning of wisdom is knowing who you are. And that knowing is the realization that God flows out from us. This truth is the law of our experience. God is the joy of love that sings through me. Would it be so hard to allow joy to bubble up as the exuberant expression of love? What if you knew that love is supposed to be joy-filled, and we have opportunity daily, hourly, minutely to let it out as laughter, as fun, as gentleness and kindness, as childlike enthusiasm and curiosity? Now, Joel Goldsmith, that monumental teacher of principles, in his book, Practicing the Presence, on page 84, says, life would become a miracle of unceasing joy and immeasurable abundance if only we could abide in the consciousness of this truth of his grace as our sufficiency in all things. God is the joy of love that sings through me when we let it. The last verse says, I am the life of God in me, filling the world I love. God is the joy I love. Now, you hear me speak often of surrender as a necessary component of letting go and letting God. In every circumstance that we encounter, it's necessary to carry the light, the truth, the joy, the love into the world. We don't take it from the world. We bring it with us into the world. This is an activity of consciousness. It is our acknowledgement of the divine wisdom, presence, abundance, life, and joy that is within us that activates the flow through us. Let me say that again. It is the recognition and acknowledgement of the divine wisdom, presence, abundance, life, and joy within us that activates the flow through us. You remember the story of the widow with the cruse of oil? As long as there were vessels, the oil flowed. Think about this for a minute. We are vessels. As long as we are willing, open, and receptive, there is flow. So, who is God? You are. I am. But without the ego, pure and simple. We are the way God is in the world. That which flows from us is not from us as Carol or Jennifer or Sandra or Vance, but from that source energy flowing through us out into our world of experience. Eckhart Tolle says, my quote, you find peace not by rearranging the circumstances of your life, but by realizing who you are at the deepest level. End quote. And I would venture to say this is not limited to the expression of peace, but is relevant to any condition or circumstance that we encounter. Our Declaration of Principles states, and I quote, we believe in the direct revelation of truth through the intuitive and spiritual nature of the individual, and that any person may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. We believe in the control of conditions through the power of this mind. We believe in our own soul, our own spirit, and our own destiny, for we understand that the life of all is God. Who is God? We are, without the ego. Namaste. Are there any comments, responses to the talk?
Nothing here from YouTube.
Okay. Well, anybody can feel free to comment, even though you can't see me.
I have a question.
Okay.
If all is God and God is all, I mean, and God made us and gave us every part of our being. Don't the ego then, it's part of who we are? And how do we reconcile that part of us with being God?
The ego is that part of us that is wanting to be in control. Okay, that's why surrender is so important in recognizing and allowing God to be God in, through, and as us. It is about not trying to play God, but allowing God to play as us. Yeah, the ego is a part of us, yes. But it is a part of us that we can and should be in control of. So that we can allow the energy and the presence of God to move through us unimpeded.
So when the master said, it is not I, but it's the Father within me that doeth the work. I'm not sure that is the exact quote, but he's referring to his miracles and his great, wonderful feats. So it's not,
Right.
but it's the Father within me. So it's not what I'm following then is that it's not my will. It's not me manipulating it in a conscious way, but it's
Exactly.
that presence and power within me that is, that is doing the
That is
work.
doing the work. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, yes.
Go finish your thought.
I was saying that Jesus recognized that in that statement, it is not him, Jesus, doing the work, but he was a vehicle for the presence of God within him to do the work, to perform the miracles, whatever, what we call miracles, but it's really a recognition of the power and the presence of God
in us. Right. I just want to share that one of the things that always guides me whenever I come upon the ego is what they say that acronym means. It stands for edging God out. So
Right.
once we are in any way trying to outdo God or saying, it's done by us, then that's our ego. And so I always revert to, if my ego is in play, then I'm edging God out and go back to first cause instead.
Right. Any attempt at manipulating a circumstance or situation is the ego at work. If we are clear that, like the song says, God is the light that shines through me eternally. God is the truth that speaks through me. And if we're clear about that, then we are also clear that we don't need to manipulate anything. If we recognize that power and that presence is quite capable of doing what needs to be done to set things right if something is out of alignment.
Isn't the ego like the consciousness that is grounded in the relative? So that
Yes.
So that the higher consciousness is in the absolute, right? But the ego can remember that we are having a human experience.
Correct.
Right. So that the ego is like sort of the medium then between that allows us to function in the relative and allows the absolute to know itself through us on this plane of existence. So it's to some extent.
Come again. The ego allows the absolute to know itself? I mean, I think so.
Remember that it is the absolute is infinite,
Yes.
Right?
So it doesn't need the ego to know anything.
Yeah.
No, already. All is already known in the absolute.
Yeah,
So
but to know
the
itself
ego
as
is where
Carol, then,
we operate.
yeah. But the absolute knowing itself as Carol, then, well, not necessarily it through controlling the ego, then through you controlling the ego is allows the absolute a greater expression of itself as you.
Okay. Anybody want to comment on that?
Well, mine is not a comment. Mine is
Mm-hmm.
asking what Vance just explained. Can it be put any simpler, because I was lost?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. And I think Carol should go back to where she started. God is, I am, all is well.
Yes.
Carol,
What? Yes.
can I, it's a kind of hyperloading Vance, but what I understand is, because I've always tried to understand the relative and the absolute. The relative is the world of effects. Like, I know this is a table and the fan is going and the light is, maybe the Carol computer not working. You know, it started out working and then it's not working. And then so that means that you're going to have to take some action and do something. That's a world of the relative. Life is up and down and changing and what have you. In the world of the relative, there is no, I mean, love doesn't change. Life doesn't change. Beauty doesn't change.
In the absolute.
Doesn't change. That is absolute.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, and the I, you know, like I said, if me is removed from the equation, would I still exist?
Yeah.
And if that I is God, then of course the I would still exist. And the question that we can ask also, you know, who is the I that is recognizing I am? It's not me. Right? It's not me recognizing I am.
That awareness, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know it's kind of very esoteric this evening, but I said is this God tell me to write some writing?
Yeah.
Dawn, any clearer?
So, but
A tad bit. I'm not all there yet.
All right. So, all right, Carol, what is the major takeaway? Or will allow for a greater expression of spirit as us then?
Well, the first thing is the recognition. That is not us who are doing anything. There is a spirit within us. Call it God, call it whatever you want to call it. But we are not the ones who are doing whatever it is that we're doing. We are recognizing that there is a presence that is operating through us. Now, that doesn't mean that we are puppets without any conscious awareness. We have to be very aware that this is what is operating through us. Like, for instance, take the computer this evening not working. I could have gone into a real tizzy and say, oh, no, computer not working, it's not going to happen, yada, yada, yada. But I also know that there is that within me that knows what to do. So it said, go to the phone. I go to the phone and it is working. You might not be seeing me, but you're very aware that is me speaking to you. You're very aware, you're seeing my photographs, so you know it's me still, and you're hearing my voice. Now, if you acknowledge that you're seeing me, can you also acknowledge that the voice that you're hearing is God speaking through me? And I think it's a good thing that you're actually not seeing me live. Because now you get a better understanding that me, Carol, is not the one who is doing this. There is that ever-knowing presence, call it God, that is speaking through me, that is bringing this message through me to you. Is that any clear as mud?
So God is working through Carol to get to us.
Yes, God is always working through all of us.
Uh-huh.
And,
Right.
and the acknowledgement of that is what actually allows that to happen, right? Because if the ego is in there like a dirty shirt trying to do it, you see,
That
God
is
is
not
not going to
acknowledging it.
force.
That is not
Yeah, God is not
acknowledging it.
going to. That's not acknowledging that there's His presence. God is not going to force
Okay.
itself onto you and say, no, I have to do this. No, if you choose to do it yourself, fine, go ahead. You know, when you find that you can't do it, maybe you will recognize that it's me doing it, not you.
Mm-hmm. Getting there.
So Carol, what is the role of choice?
Thank you.
What is the role of choice?
Yes.
We always have choice. We can choose to acknowledge the presence or not.
Yeah. You see, my understanding is, Carol, is that I get so caught up in the way life is occurring. The bills to pay, the money the money's not there, the health challenges, contract cancel, the traffic on the road, and everything that's going on at the external level, at the level of the relative.
Mhm.
And we often forget that that God is not perturbed by bills and health conditions and things out there. I mean, that divine presence that we talk of in this teaching is perfect, whole, and complete. And we are made in the image and likeness of that. So we are also perfect, whole, and complete. So if there is a condition, a diagnosis, the diagnosis is at the level of the relative, right, Vance?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And what's at the level of the absolute is our perfect health. And that's where we need to put our effort and our energy and not get caught up in the outside, what's working or rather what's not working and the problems and what have you. And let those just be an indicator as to where to focus our prayer work on
That's
health,
right.
on abundance, on peace, and on those things. Right?
We should
Correct.
that.
Yeah, and I have never liked the term prayer work because it doesn't need to be work. It's
Yeah,
simply
true.
recognition. It's recognition. You don't need to be work. And the more we think of it as work, is the more we think of it in the relative, that it must be hard.
So this means then that if my health challenges are not, what's the word, being resolved, it means I'm not focusing correctly, or what?
If your health challenges are not being resolved,
To what I want it to be.
okay,
Does it mean
there you go. Okay,
what am I
it's to
doing wrong?
what you want it to be.
Right.
So
What
how
I
do
want
you
it
know
to
it's
be.
not being resolved in a way that you might not be aware of?
Well, because it's not happening.
It's not happening the way you want it to happen.
Okay. I never looked at it that way.
But what if there is, in at a conscious level, we're going to the doctor, we're taking the medicine, we're doing the surgery, we are, you see, the challenge is like doing, because work is really more in the being. How am I
Right.
being this health challenge? If
Yeah.
so, maybe look at, what happens when you lie down in your bed at night. What do you think about? When you feel whether it's pain or the doctor says something, how do you respond inside yourself? What do you think?
Yes.
What do you say?
Yes. What do you know as the truth?
Yeah.
If we say God is the truth that speaks through me, forever 3. What is the truth that I am knowing right now in the midst of whatever challenge it is, whether it's health or money or peace or relationships? whatever the challenge may be, on the other side of that door that you're knocking on, that I want peace, I want love, I want money, I want health, on the other side of that, all of these things already are.
So,
So
so it means I'm not accepting it? Does that mean
That's-
I'm not, does that mean I'm not accepting what's on the other side of the door? I'm not trying to see if I
Wait, no,
understand.
I'm trying to answer you, because not accepting not us on the other side of the door is, again, looking at it from the negative point of view.
Okay.
When it comes to health, for instance, I believe that there's a difference between a healing and a cure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a healing is a spiritual activity. A cure is a doctor's business, doctor's activity.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So when you accept,
Never thought it that way. Mhm.
when you accept healing as a spiritual experience, that could mean that the cure is not what you need. Let me try and put that another way.
What I need is the healing, not the cure.
What you need is a healing, and the healing will affect the cure.
Okay.
Okay, because the healing is the work of God through the doctor.
Okay.
The healing is a spiritual exercise that comes through your recognition of God working through you, working through the doctors, working through
Mm-hmm.
whatever is associated with you. Now,
Mm-hmm.
recognition of that power and presence at work is what would affect the cure.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I don't want you to begin to think, I'm doing something wrong. That's why this ain't working.
Okay.
That's your ego talking to you.
Okay. That's where the ego comes in, edging God out.
That's where the ego comes in. Okay. The ego wants everything straightforward and neat and fine and in nice little boxes. Because the ego craves certainty. But it is in the uncertainty that you have to release your control.
That's called the art of allowing.
Yes. I go back to my experience of skydiving. Right? Not skydiving, it was bungee jumping, not skydiving. I haven't gone to skydiving route yet.
Not going there.
I'm not sure I want to go there anymore.
No,
But
I don't want to go there.
with the bungee jumping, you can go to the edge of that platform, right? And you have the opportunity at any point to step back from that edge. But the minute you step off of that platform, you're in free fall. You have absolutely no control.
That's right.
And the most you can do is nothing. Let go. Right? But it's letting go with a sense of trust.
Mm-hmm.
Letting go with a sense of trust. The rope not gonna pop. Right?
Okay. I'm not going to try the bungee jumping either.
Okay. So, Carol, I'm
Yes.
just looking now at the
Yes.
requests that I don't see. Well, that's true. I'm not seeing any request on YouTube. Okay.
Well,
No,
I put in my usual request for health.
Yes.
Okay.
Health
and
and
love.
right. And Carol Charlton is requesting a prayer of health for her for Johnny.
Okay.
Now, include me
right.
in the health, please, Carol. Thank you.
Okay,
Jen.
Health for Jennifer
Store health for
Johnny.
everybody.
and Dawn.
Thank you.
Dawn, Jennifer, Carol. Dawn, Jennifer.
Johnny.
Carol versus by Johnny.
No, Carol, the request is for Johnny.
For Johnny, yes. And anybody else? Okay. So knowing what we now know, we recognize right here and right now this affirmative prayer of health. God is health. God is that perfect, robust, vital expression of life as it courses through every cell, every tissue, every vein, every function of our physical bodies. So I know for Dawn, for Jennifer, for Johnny, for anyone else who is tuned into the idea of health, we now declare that we allow God as perfect health to find its perfect expression in, through, and as us now. We celebrate this idea of perfect health. We allow it to be present in us as our experience. We release any idea of otherness, any doubt, any fear of the efficacy of this affirmative prayer. There is God and only God being present right here, right now, demonstrating perfection, health, and wholeness, vitality, life, and liberty through Dawn, through Jennifer, through Johnny. There is no place in our physical beings that God is not expressing now. And so we know with a deep inner knowing that God in us, as us, is perfect health, is perfect wholeness, is perfect readiness to express as health, as wholeness. All that's left for us to do is to say thank you. Thank you, God. I release my hold and allow God to be God now. Have your way with me, God. Have your way through every cell, every tissue, every function, every issue. God is. I am. I am the God that is. I give thanks for this knowing now, and I release these words into that infinite law, accepting your perfect demonstration right here, right now. And so it is.
And so it is. And so it is. Thank you, Carol.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And there's love for Dawn as well.
Okay. This is an affirmative prayer of love. God is love.
Yes.
Therefore, we are loving. We are loved. We are lovable. We are the way that God loves. We are the vehicles of love. We are the instruments of love. So we open ourselves now to let love pour out from us, because we are filled, full to overflowing with this love energy that God is. The love energy that sustains us, that maintains us, that allows us to live lives of joy and exuberance and enthusiasm with a childlike curiosity and just plain playfulness. Love is the way God plays through us And isn't that a wonderful idea? Let's play. Let's allow God to play. Let's say yes to love, yes to life, yes to the beingness that is joyous, that skips and dances and sings and laughs as us. What a joy it is to let love have its way in us, through us, as us, so that everywhere we are, that energy of love and joy just bubbles up and touches everyone and every circumstance into joyful expression, into love-filled, light-filled experience. We are love in expression. We know this, we acknowledge this, we celebrate this. And we know that right as we are lovable, we are loved, we are truly love in expression. I give thanks for this knowing, and I release these words into that joyful, joy-filled expression of love that I know us to be. I give thanks that this is already so. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Can you get one for light, please?
Light? Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
This is an affirmative prayer of light for Dawn and for anyone else who is tuned in to the idea of light. We are light beings. This light radiates from us, beams from our soul and heart center. It is a light unto the pathway that we trod, and a light unto the pathway of everyone who is on our journey with us. Light fills all space without interruption, without hesitation, without permission. Light simply finds its perfect way in, through, and as our experience. And this light is accompanied by divine wisdom that not only guides us, but surrounds us and accompanies us through every pathway of life. This light looks like understanding, compassion, reassurance that we know and know that we know. This intuitive knowing really is the inner working of God in us through our mental activity, through our words that are spoken, through our activities that are undertaken. Light fills every circumstance and condition so that there is no mistake to be made. There is only light present in us, as us, through every circumstance and condition. Light is. We accept this as our experience now. We know that God is the light that shines through us, lighting our pathway to ever unfolding good, ever unfolding consciousness of truth, so that we know without a shadow of a doubt, God is the life that lives through me, that lives through each one of us. And this life knows how to be, what to be, where to be, and why to be. All we need to do is to allow it to be. I give thanks for this light and this wisdom that is now infusing our every thought, word, and deed. I give thanks for this knowing, and I release these words into that infinite law, accepting light as established now in our experience. Thank you, God, that this is now so. So it is.
So,
And so it is. Thank you.
thank you, Carol. I'm going to put up the
Welcome.
slides now.
Yes, please.
There you go.
Okay. So, as usual, our brief announcements. Join Reverend John Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 a.m. for quiet moments in the garden. I know Dawn is a regular, and so is Carol, and so is Steve. And if you haven't tuned in yet, you don't need to tune in at 6 a.m. You can tune in anytime that suits you. It's there for the taking. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 a.m. A good pick-me-up for the day. We have classes at the Temple of Light. Our classes are coming to a close now, but you can also find out about classes that may be upcoming by going to classes.templeoflightcsl.org. You can find details of classes that I think most of them are winding down now, but other classes will be coming up shortly. And this week's prayer power is at 5 p.m., not 6, because this week on Thursday, we also have Lifeline. So join prayer power at 5 o'clock this week, this Thursday, be lifted up by the transformative prayer power of God's love, light, peace, and joy. And it's on a Zoom link, which will be sent. Now, this week's Lifeline, this month's Lifeline, will feature Christine King, our own award-winning journalist, a long-time member of the Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living. She will be joining Reverend Ann and practitioner Sandra Cooper for an hour of connectivity, liberty, love, and laughter. And what is her topic again?
Living the science of
Living
mind.
the science of mind. Okay.
Mhm.
So join Lifeline at 6 p.m. on Thursday via Facebook Live. And come again on Sunday, where we have our service at 9 a.m., which is live streamed via YouTube. And this Sunday will be Youth Sunday. So please either come in person or tune in online for an absolutely delightful service. The youth always bring us something different and something special. So please come and give them our support. Sunday at 9 a.m. And also tune in every day at noon for Noon Bites with Reverend Ann.
Oh,
Again,
that's
it's a
good.
short little midday pick-me-up
Mhm.
every day on Zoom at noon with Reverend Ann.
YouTube, not Zoom.
YouTube, not Zoom, sorry, YouTube. And come again next Tuesday at 6 p.m. for another Spiritual Mind Healing service on Zoom and on Facebook. So that's it for our announcements. If you feel moved to support our ministry, if you have gained any insights from whatever we do, this talk this evening or our Sunday services, any of the classes, please feel free to donate at donate.templeoflightcsl.org. And we are ever thankful for your generosity. Your contribution continues to help us to be a beacon of light for the world. Thank you so much. Now, if you're ready to press that donate button, or you have your donation in your hand that you can drop off at the temple anytime, please say the blessing for your contribution. Lovingly I give, joyfully I receive. Be thou fruitful, increase and multiply. Bless, prosper, and enrich everyone whom you touch, and replenish all of my financial affairs. Thank you, Father. And so it is. And now the prayer of our center. The Temple of Light, Center for Spiritual Living, is a sacred field embodying our spiritual community from which the Christ, peace, love, and joy emanate to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, and to liberate anyone who comes into contact with it in any way. The light of the Christ illumines us, our center, and our environment. Our spiritual community is filled with and surrounded by the presence of God and is growing from strength to strength. The power of God expands our consciousness of truth, guiding us ceaselessly along the paths of wisdom, spiritual growth, unfoldment, and attainment. We are blessed, and to God be the honor and glory forever. And so it is. Amen. And now the prayer of Jamaica. The radiant light of God's love is now flowing through us and from us to everything and everyone it touches. The eternal light of God's love now completely fills, covers, and surrounds our island Jamaica. The glowing intensity of the light of God's love now interpenetrates and awakens within the hearts and minds of our countrymen and women the truths of life which set free. The light of God's love is growing and glowing in intensity in the hearts and minds of mankind everywhere. Love, health, harmony, goodwill, peace, uprightness, integrity, joy, prosperity, kindness, and our oneness under God are now established. And so it is. And so in this consciousness of awakening that radiant light within us, of being present to the presence of God growing from strength to strength within us, to be expressed through us, as us, into our lives, into our community. We leave this spiritual mind healing service this evening with a clear knowing and understanding that we are the way God works. So we can get ourselves out of the picture and allow God to be God. We let God play through us in our lives and affairs with a trusting knowing that where God is, all is perfectly well, all is perfectly joyful and lovable and abundant and flowing, unimpeded. Where we are, we allow God to be God. We take this with us into the rest of our day, into the rest of our week, and watch as God works in mysterious and miraculous ways to bring to fruition whatever it is that we desire. We give thanks that this is already so. And so it is.
So it is. Wonderful.
And so it is. Wonderful. Thank you, Carol.
Thank you so much, everybody, for being here.
Yes.
And we have a
You
little
too.
5 minutes to take a breather. The rest of us have to go back. So, use the
Yes.
back. Go back.
Sorry, practitioners, just